Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Morning Coffee Talks. Some men feel trapped in their marriage. And we're not talking about just the feeling of the day to day routine. I mean, that heavy feeling that you're giving everything and getting nothing back. It's a real feeling. And a lot of men are dealing with this in silence. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to stay that way. And I want to break down and really figure out what's going on. For me, one of the things I started to notice at a part in my marriage and just other experiences as far as people that I know of is many men start to feel used and not loved. And I would say one of the biggest reasons is men feel trapped and they start to feel more like a resource than a partner. Listen, they working hard, providing, supporting their family, and somewhere along the way, it starts to feel like your value is only tied to what you do and not necessarily who you are. And that's a super lonely place to be. And it's like it's like you need it, but you not necessarily want it. And this feeling usually creeps in because as men, we don't always express what we need. And a lot of times we don't even know what we need because we haven't arrived to a point to know what we want or what we actually need. But to tell you the truth, if you keep pouring into others without getting poured into, then you're gonna hit a wall, right? And then you start to get those thoughts that creep in. Man, if I stop doing everything I do, will she still love me the same way? And that's a question that can make a man really feel trapped, especially if he's unsure of the answer, right? So, upon this journey that I'm on, right, I've learned that a lot of men feel like they settle before becoming a man that they want to be. And I think this is a hard truth that a man won't come to a place where they want to admit. Hey, some of us settle down before we become the man we truly want to be. Like many of us might have had dreams, goals, and ambitions, but then life happened, right? Maybe we had a kid earlier than we wanted to, certain responsibilities, family, and then maybe even bills started to take or took priority. And now you're looking at yourself thinking, this isn't the version of me I wanted to be. And then to make things worse or make matters worse, the woman you're now with, quote unquote, wants the good man, right? The man you always knew you could be, but you never really fully became. And that's a hard pill to swallow. You start feeling like she's looking at you expecting more, and you still trying to figure out even just how to become the best version of yourself or be that guy that you want to be. And if you're not careful, that pressure can really feel suffocating. It's like no matter what you do, it's never enough. But here's the thing, you're not stuck in that version of yourself. You can still become the man you want to be or was meant to be. But the question comes back to, are you willing to do the work? And I've talked about this across multiple videos about what it really like to be, what it really takes to really put the work in to become that version you want to be. And again, it's not too late. Trust me, listen, when you start to level up as a man, it changes the whole dynamic in your marriage. Your wife starts to see you differently, and it's not because she suddenly starts to like love you more, but it's because you're showing up as the best version of yourself, right? Showing up as the man that you wanted to be. So keep that in mind. Another thing could be a lack of emotional connection, right? Over time, it's easy for emotional connection to start to fade. You go from like deep conversations and laughter to mostly talking about, the day-to-day stuff, right? Your schedule, what's going on with you and the kids, bills, shoot, even small stuff like who picking up the kids. Without that emotional connection, the relationship starts to feel like a business arrangement versus a personal relationship. And when you feel like your thoughts, your dreams, or your struggles don't matter, it's easy to start to mentally check out. The emotional connection won't rebuild itself. You have to put in the work. And that starts with communication. I've heard this even before I even got married about how communication is the glue to your relationship. Like you have to be able to find a way to talk things out, right? You have to be honest about what you need, but also listen to your wife's needs. And I think if both of you are willing to meet each other halfway, then that feeling of being trapped starts to fade. But again, it starts with you as the man, rebuilding yourself to the version that you feel is going to bring the most value. Another thing is, right, that makes men feel trapped in their marriage. They have unmet needs and they start to have resentment. Listen, whether it's emotional, physical, or just basic appreciation, a lot of times they go unmet for far too long, right? And you start to get those thoughts of, I'm giving my best, but it's never enough. But listen, are you really giving your best? Especially if you're not the best version of yourself, you don't see yourself as a man or as a husband you want to be, right? That's something that even personally I had to come to terms with. Is obviously if you're getting this type of pushback, you're getting this type of resentment, you're getting, hey, I'm not being fulfilled, you're not giving enough, that's when you have to check yourself and say, okay, am I really giving the best version of myself, right? Am I really giving my best? Because if you're not, again, you start to get those same reoccurring things, right? Like you get to a point where you can't even talk about something without it starts to be an argument, right? And you start to get that resentment that starts to build. And again, resentment will suffocate a marriage faster than anything else. Here's a key for something I learned. And again, it's part of this is my personal relationship, but also from, experiences from other people I know. At some point, you have to express what you need, even if it's uncomfortable, right? But it's not about just like pointing a finger at the other person. You have to also make sure that you're meeting your wife's needs too. Marriage works best when both people feel that they're valued and supported. If one person is always pouring into the other, it never gets filled back up. And eventually you'll start to run empty. And that's when the real feeling of feeling trapped takes hold. So what's kind of the path forward to get to that point, right? What's the solution? Well, I think first, you have to stop believing that you have to stay stuck in this particular version of yourself. You can evolve, you can grow, you can become the man that you always wanted to be. And guess what? When you do, everything in your marriage is going to start to shift. I'm a living testimony. And your confidence will start to increase, your energy will change, and trust me, your wife will notice. But it starts with you, and no one else can do it for you. I would say, secondly, you have to start having tough and hard and honest conversations. don't wait for your wife to read your mind, right? You have to tell her what you need. But first, I would say you got to find out what you need. And that comes through personal development, because as you start to go through your own journey, you start to learn yourself and different things that you were lacking personally. Then you start to understand what you can feel yourself. And then you can say, oh, okay, these are the things where I need help with. And I think my wife can provide that assistance to make my life better. But you'll never arrive to that point until you go through your own personal shift of becoming the best version of yourself, right? But again, remember, it's two to tango. So be open to hearing what she needs as well. The goal isn't about finger pointing, right? It's about the ability to rebuild a connection and create the partnership where both of you feel valued and appreciated. And I would say finally, remember this: feeling trapped is a mind state, right? The moment you decide to take control of your life, of your growth, this mental cage starts to disappear. And when you step into the man you were meant to be, you'll not only transform your life, but you'll also transform your marriage as well. So, listen, if this message really hit home, drop a comment below. And I would love to figure out what you're doing to stop being unstuck, right? To break out of that mental cage of being trapped. So, hey, hit that subscription button if it's your first time watching Husband Code. If you've been watching for a while, subscribe as well. And if you got any value from this video, hit the like button. Also, hit that notification bell, because we're dropping videos like this every single day. And until next time, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.